on a mission and trying to move the outhouse. I don't know, I've winched it a little bit. It's kind of working, but it started tipping forward. Cross your fingers for me it doesn't tip.
I've managed to move quite a bit with the quad. I've got my biggest girl here helping me winch because I have to hold this up. We're on a hill and it's starting to fall. But I think if I can get it over these 3 logs, it'll level itself out and then I can at least cover the hole before John comes and helps me.
Well, the outhouse is off the old hole. Thank God I didn't have any catastrophes. I'm really lucky that I have older children to help me when I get myself into predicaments because it ends up happening more than you'd think. I was winching it and it started tipping over, so I ran over there. I'm holding up the outhouse and I'm yelling, Rochelle, come help me. You need to help me winch. So she jumped on the quad, held the brake, and she's just doing little increments as I'm telling her. And we were able to move it onto flat land because it was on a little bit of a hill. My arm can barely hold up the floor right now, it's just shaking. But I've got spruce boughs over the old hole. I went and collected a whole bunch of rocks yesterday from anywhere I could possibly find. So I'll put that over the spruce boughs. I'll just put a pile of stuff on the old hole. And then when John comes out, he can help me move it onto the new hole. After seeing this old hole though, I think I'm gonna try make a larger diameter with my new one. I should be able to get maybe a few years more out of it if I could do that. I might as well, because it's easier now than moving it later. Oh, I'm gonna call that hole finished. And then this one, I'll lift it up here. Definitely think I'm gonna try and make it a little bit wider, because that's not gonna get me very many years. I'm just so sick and tired of digging in that clay, but wider won't be too tricky. I got super lucky and found this really old rope. I was looking everywhere for a strap and I couldn't find one. Then I went down to the dock. This must have been an old dock rope at one point and it's starting to fray, but it did the job. It just wrapped around it perfectly. The kids were actually up here a little while ago and I was running them through a little science lesson because we did finish a unit on force a little while ago. So I was just explaining to them that these little teenager spruce that I've clipped down are helping lessen my resistance because I wouldn't be able to just drag it across the land. And we had this big blue bar I was working with for leverage just to get the first couple underneath. And I was showing them how I had to raise my fulcrum and I had to move it. And I was standing on it. I wasn't able to push the outhouse without it, but easily I was able to push it. Well, standing on it, but I mean, then I actually could move it. So it was just showing them that the science I'm teaching you is not all for nothing. And no matter who you are, even if you're not strong enough, if you have a little bit of knowledge, you might be able to make things work for you. Well, I guess I'm just going to put the pajamas back on my quad so it doesn't get sunburned. I'll come back later and dig that hole. I think I'm just going to go back and grab something to eat first, have a little bit of a break. Yesterday when I was collecting rocks from all over, you could see the holes everywhere. I ended up getting more than I thought I needed. So there were some big dips going onto this hill up to the outhouse. I was quadding with the 2 little ones and they were having a hard time holding on. It's pretty bumpy. So I filled in these ruts with rocks and then the gravel from the new outhouse hole, the leftover stuff I didn't need. It's really nice being out here and having the time to pick away at things. When this was just our little weekend getaway, we just came out to enjoy life. We didn't really have time to putz and enhance anything, kind of only just keep on top of stuff. So it's been good, but here I go digging a bigger hole. So I think the new hole is complete. These 2 little pieces of plywood are pretty much the exact size of the base of the outhouse. So that made it easy to kind of level out and try to brace it up a bit. I'm not gonna crib it. The other one wasn't and it lasted just fine. So I think I'm just gonna call that a job done. So all chores aside, I was thinking I'd take the kids for a little boat ride today. John bought our family a little 16-footer so I can have a set of wheels. I'm quite excited. This is gonna be my learning boat. I had moved it to our beach a few days ago because the wind was gusting up to 50 and I didn't want it to have a hard time at our other little dock. This is our best place to park a boat because it's really our only shelter on the whole island. When I came here to park it, I had two options. I was either going to kind of tie it out back a bit so that it was able to ride waves if they came in here, or pull it up as far as possible. And I went with the latter choice. I don't know. I figured because it's pulled up as far as it can, the motor can't actually sink. The back end might get some splash water into it, but John ended up putting an automatic bilge pump in there for me. The wind is supposed to pick up here shortly for a couple hours and then die down around 8. So I'm going to move this to our other dock, and then maybe around 8 we'll go for a little putt. John and I have the Windy app, it's called, and we keep an eye on it for the wind. If you spend any time on the lake, you should look into it. It's actually quite accurate, and it does the wind forecast by the hour. It's nice to be able to look at, especially when I'm out in the family with this little thing. I don't have to get caught in anything crazy. Around and get as much scabby ropes as I could find to tie this off into a V. But it held up nicely these last few days. This will probably be what I'm going to do. Park it here, make sure it's safe. Okay. You're going to have to go to the back of the boat. They're too heavy. Back ropes are tied up. Well, good thing that didn't happen to us on our little first family adventure. The boat stalled once we got out onto the lake. So my daughter and I had to paddle the boat into the dock, which wasn't very fun. It's not that easy paddling a boat. Well, we got it back. I'm extra tapped, especially after this morning. I'm gonna need to have myself a lake bath. I don't know what's wrong with the boat. My skill set pretty much only goes as far as gas, which it has. So I don't know. Hopefully it's nothing too bad. We'll have to see when John comes out. Well, this off-grid day is ending. I'm just coming down to check the boat one more time, to stare at it, like that's gonna help. I don't know, I get so anxious when I break things. Well, I don't know if I broke it, but it happened while I was driving it, so it stresses me out. And I'm just anxiously awaiting John to get home. He's working late tonight, so he's gonna be a while. I'm really hoping that when he comes here, it's just gonna be something dumb that I missed. Good news, everybody. I didn't break the boat. It ended up being the silly fuel line. I apparently didn't have it pushed in all the way. It's kind of tricky. See what I mean? And there is, there's a tight O-ring. It's got to get pushed right up against. So I didn't do that, and it ended up kind of creating a vacuum. And so the boat ran out of fuel. But it's good news. I didn't break it. I've got this vent closed in case it collects some moisture from the air, because it might be a little while till we get out for our first putt, unfortunately. It's been waiting. But the first evening that it dies down, I'll take the kids out and we'll go for our first little cruise and see how it goes. Okay guys, let's go back and check on the dock. Camry, stop eating sand. Come on. Come on. Let's go back. Run, run, run. Come on. It's the last day of school tomorrow, so the kids are super stoked about that. I'm sure we'll get a lot of hours on that little boat this summer. I'm hoping to anyway. It's gonna be my little learning boat. And Shale and Jade can learn along with me. We'll be a bunch of little learners putting across the lake this summer. I seriously can't wait for summer holidays to start. It's going to be crazy not having homeschool during the days. It takes up so much of our time. We're going to have ample time to do all of our life chores and then the rest of the time to enjoy ourselves, enjoy my beautiful family. I know there's been so many people coming up to me saying, how is it living on the lake? Is it great? Just living the dream. And it really is. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just still surreal to me. I don't think life gets any better than this. I'm pretty darn lucky. It's the last day of school and Shale has to read to Mom, but it's really important to go leech hunting, apparently, so I have to wait a few minutes. Well, the outhouse is officially moved from its old hole to its new hole, all with the help of one of our really good friends. They came over for a visit, and within a matter of 2.5 minutes, John and him moved it the rest of the way. It's amazing how much easier life is with manpower. But I'm super stoked to get that out of the way because now for the remainder of the summer, I shouldn't have to deal with our indoor toilet too much, which is my least favorite chore. Right now, we're going to go to the beach because we are celebrating that school is officially over. It's 4 o'clock. Thursday afternoon, and we are going to go enjoy an hour or so at our little beach and then come back and make supper. And then Dad's on holidays for a few days. We didn't get around to our little boat ride that we wanted to do solo, but we'll get there. We've got the whole summer.
Summer holiday!
Yay! Hey, well, we're done our first of very many beach dates, I'm sure. We're going to head back to the cabin now and go make some supper. Say goodbye. You're harassing me. Bye. Have a good week.